Welcome to Healing Grooves, a Sapphire Rays of Sunshine series. We're so glad you're here. This is the space where we explore how music shapes our emotions, our memories, and even our mental health. Is music something that we enjoy, or is it something our brain and nervous system are wired to respond to? Let's explore the science. We're honored to welcome Celeste McFarland, a psychiatric mental health and family nurse practitioner and founder of Skylight Ascend Wellness. As a clinician, Celeste works at the intersection of brain health, emotional regulation, and integrative mental health care, supporting individuals navigating anxiety, depression, trauma, and life transitions. With the ability to diagnose, treat, and prescribe, she brings a unique medical perspective on how sound and music can complement evidence-based psychiatric care. Celeste, thank you for being with us. Before we get started, tell us how our audience can connect with Skylight Ascend Wellness.
Well, one of the beautiful things about Skylight Ascend Wellness is that we are a virtual mental health and wellness practice. So you can find me online at www.skylightwell.org. You can also call me or text me. I tell everybody, even my patients, you can text me anytime. I don't always answer, but I'll get back to you within 24 hours. That number is 773-800-0045. And you can also email us at hello@skylightwell.org.
Okay, great. So I hope you're taking note, and we'll revisit this at the end as well, just to make sure that you have her information. Okay, so we'll dive right in. Okay, so let's start. Our first question that should really help our audience that's listening. As a psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner, what changes do you see in the brain and body when patients engage in music intentionally?
Well, listening to music like intentionally, it lights up the neurons in the brain. So, for instance, it works particularly on the sections of the brain that affect emotions, memory, the reward system. So it shifts our body from when we're in a high stress mode to more like calm and more regulated mode. So it helps not only to calm our brain, but it works on the body too. So music helps to decrease the heart rate when we kind of stressed out and our heart rate's really high. And it's also research has shown that it can improve our immune system too.
And those are key, and I love that part about the reward system.
Yeah.
That's a great way to offer self-rewards at times.
Yes.
Okay, great, thank you. So let's go on into the next question. From a psychiatric standpoint, how does sound influence the nervous system, especially for individuals experiencing anxiety, depression, or even trauma?
That's a great question. So sound works very, very well with anxiety, depression, trauma, stress, and all. So we have a type of therapy called music therapy. Mm-hmm. So music therapy is an evidence-based therapy that has statistically shown to lower anxiety levels, depression levels. It supports resilience. So when people have trauma, you need to be resilient to be able to overcome. So music therapy does all of that. So again, like I mentioned, how it decreases our heart rate and things like that. So for instance, I work in the ICU. We had music therapists that would come to the bedside and play music for maybe 10, 15 minutes, and you would see on the monitors heart rates are calming, respirations are calming, agitation was less. So now we incorporate music in all sorts of different kinds of to help with emotional regulation.
So it's kind of going from a fight and flight to a relax and restore mode.
Yes, definitely. That's music definitely plays a mode in just trying to get our body out of that high stress, super anxious, hypervigilant state to now a more calm, relaxed, and now we're able to kind of think and process your state.
Oh, and that doesn't matter. It doesn't have a limit in terms of ages. It's just for all ages, from our babies
ages,
all the way
yes.
to our, I call them seasoned citizens.
Yes, yes. So
Yes.
that's why you have music that was created in the 1930s and 40s, and even now, where like for instance, some of our let's say Michael Jackson, right? You can play Michael Jackson in every different race, age, even the little kids, they dance into Michael Jackson.
Yes.
So music reaches so many different genres and types of people, and then it also it speaks to people's mind and their bodies.
Yes, exactly. Okay. All right, so let's keep going. All right, so we often hear that trauma is stored in our bodies. How can music or sound help access and process our emotions that may be difficult to verbalize with traditional therapy?
Great. So trauma is often stored in those like nonverbal neuronal pathways in our brain. So what music tries to do is like gently penetrate those portions of the brain to kind of help us to like process and like regulate those emotions. So like for instance, you will have something where somebody who has experienced childhood trauma, they may not always remember a clear picture in their brain of what that trauma was, but they can remember those emotions they felt during that trauma. They can remember like either being scared or feeling like they want to vomit or feeling short of breath. So let's say somebody who experienced childhood trauma, a song pops up, and next thing you know, they get anxious, or they feel their body tighten up, their respiration start to get fast, their chest gets tight, their palpitations, and they're like, oh my gosh, like why did this song, make me have and feel all of this? And then so from there, they can try to kind of figure out what is going on with in my brain that is now that music has affected me, and it kind of just will help them like process those emotions and kind of work on like, okay, something about that song or something about that happened, and maybe try to remember what happened, and then eventually get into some therapy so we can try to figure out what what's going on. But that's the beauty of music, where it can also help calm us and promote that resilience, but then sometimes it just kind of help us to our body to feel what our words just can't say.
So it's almost like if they have a song that they recognize triggers them in a negative way, then maybe they can have the antithesis. They can have that counterproductive activity with where it would take them to the next stream, and have that more positive songs, have something in their mind and say, okay, let me go and play this song. Of course, we definitely don't negate other methods, prayer and meditation and so forth, but since we're talking about music, maybe people can think about what are some positive songs, playlists that I can use if I'm one that's experiencing trauma and I know this. What are some songs that I can have as my go-to, to help me in that rest and restore mode? Okay, so let's go on to the mechanisms or the topic on dementia, Alzheimer's, memory, and science. Why does music often remain accessible in dementia when other communication methods don't quite work as well at times?
Great. So music, like I said, it lights up those neuronal circuits. It works on that part of the brain for like our memory, those emotions. So a lot of those still remain intact, even though communication sometimes with Alzheimer's and dementia kind of fades, right? So they aren't able to communicate their feelings. But because music can like penetrate and like really kind of get stored in our like memory and emotional parts of the brain, that's when they'll hear a song and then they light up and they can sing that song verbatim, right? And you're like, now you don't remember by name, but you can sing this Temptation song from the beginning to the end. But it just kind of, it's those remote memory that is still stored and often does not fade, and especially earlier, even moderate dementia, and then sometimes even late stage dementia, where it's still there, and music has that ability to kind of penetrate those parts of the brain.
Yeah, and I think, for all of our audience members out there, it's particularly those that really don't understand the personality of individuals who may be facing this. If you sit down and listen to what they are listening to, how they respond to different songs, that would give us even more insight about their personality, who they were. So it's important sometimes to just let them talk about their past, let them give you words of wisdom, and then having this music coupled with it, it really kind of builds a stronger bond with that individual.
It does.
The music can help build that bond, and listening to the lyrics will give you a better sense of who they are and what they gravitate towards.
And it's a new way to cope with dementia, right? So sometimes it's a lot harder on the family than it is the actual patient most of the time. So now if we know that, all right, listening to music, that kind of helps spark that memory, helps bring out those positive emotions. All right, well, our new thing gonna be, we're gonna listen to music, and that's how we bond.
Sit around, have a nice meal or something. Maybe turn off the TV or turn on the TV and put on YouTube or something. With some music on it. So, and listen to what they like sometimes. That's the key. It's also about what they like, and that helps you to kind of subscribe to their way of thinking or their way of living. All right. So let's talk a little bit about integrative care. All right. As someone who can prescribe medication, how do you view music within an integrative mental health treatment plan?
So music is one of my biggest recommendations when I'm telling my patients about coping skills, right? So a lot of the things when we're dealing with depression, anxiety, trauma, how do we cope? When we don't have ineffective coping skills, that's when we are letting those feelings kind of interfere with our day-to-day. We can't enjoy our day because we don't know how to cope with the depression or cope with the anxiety. So I always recommend music as a complement. So for instance, some of my patients who have more serious mental illness, they may be schizophrenic, they may hear voices or hear sounds, and that's distressing to them. But they often find solace in putting on some headphones and listening to music. So I'm like, oh, well, what kind of music you listen to? I don't really care. It could be jazz, it could be hip hop, it could be R&B, but whatever music that's common to you, they put those headphones on and they fine. They can get through their day, and then now, we got earbuds, so they can go to work and put an earbud in and listen to that music and maybe do their job and it not be so distressing to them. So is music therapy the end-all, be-all? It can be for some, but it's definitely a great complement with therapy, and if you need medications as well. So they all work very cohesively together.
That reminds me of a couple of times I had to have an MRI. And I'm one that needs to take Valium because you're not putting me in that box. It will not happen. So oftentimes I would still take the Valium, or they'll give me whatever medicine the day that you take it a couple hours before. But when I come in there and they have to lay me down, they say, well, what do you want to listen? You want to listen to music? Yes. And they always ask what type of music. So even though Sapphire Rays of Sunshine focuses on R&B and jazz primarily, it does not negate the other multitudes, genres of music. You listen to what pleases your spirit and your body and your soul. So I just put it on, and it does help me get through that moment when I had to do those those tests.
Yeah, because now I'm focusing on listening to this music. Maybe it's a song I never heard, so now I'm listening to it. Okay, this is nice, and it helps us to kind of block out all that, like you said, that anxiety of being in this, MRI. So so music is definitely one of my biggest proponents, and I recommend it to everybody. Music, and definitely bedtime. Like, put some music on. Take the phone, put some music on. Don't scroll, and then that helps. We can relax, turn our brain off, and go to sleep. Because everybody like, oh, I don't sleep well. Well, you can't look at the phone. Put some music on.
Put some music on. Let it
white
play
noise
low.
or something. Yes.
Right. White noise, rain, some type of sound and vibration. Because music is vibration. So that is usually kind of what triggers that upbeat tempo, and sometimes to get us calm and regulated. So so thank you. All right, now for someone, because I know we're starting to wrap up a little bit here, but for someone watching now who feels overwhelmed, what's one evidence-based way that they can begin using music intentionally at home? Now, you just mentioned about doing it, listening to it at night when you're going to sleep. But any other ways that maybe you had not thought about?
Yes. So one of the things, I have an aunt. She works in corporate America, and she say I put on my songs. It may be some. I'm not gonna mention them all, but I put that on. I put it in my car, and sometimes I'm in the parking lot listening to it, and that just helps me to prepare to get out and deal with this stressful corporate America, right? So once I play my songs on my drive in the parking lot, all right, I'm ready to face the world. So I tell people, create a playlist, an intentional music playlist. It could be 10, 15 minutes long. You can listen to it in the morning while you're getting dressed, in the car, on the way to work, or on the way to school, or on the way wherever you need to go. Listen to that every day. Make sure you putting meaningful and intentional songs on there that are more calming to you. So if you need to be more, your job requires you to be more on point, or, more hypervigilant, maybe there may be more upbeat songs. But if your job where you're like, all right, I start my morning off anxious, I need something to calm me down to go in here, then play more calming songs. But 10 to 15 minutes every day, play that playlist, and that will help you to just kind of keep you regulated, keep you calm, and kind of, again, help to reach those parts of the brain that affect our emotion and our reward centers.
That's remarkable. When, as you were saying that, I started thinking about how it helps people to practice more self-care, because as you're saying this, there may be some individuals thinking, well, what songs do I like? I've never really thought about it. So now you have to do some self-reflection. You're bonding with yourself, and you're being, like you said, that key word, intentional about the songs. You're listening to the lyrics, because words have power.
100%.
Words have power, so be very careful about what songs you're playing. You don't want to play songs that are going to take you into a further state of depression if you're there, or to take you out of that calm, positive mood if you're there. So it does really help you to become more in tune with who you are and what you like. Okay, so Celeste, before we close, right, we're going to make sure that our viewers know who you are. But before we do that, do you have a couple of songs that you want to share with the audience that you like, or genres of music, even if it's not jazz and R&B, just
neo soul, 100%.
Okay.
I love your Erykah Badu, your Jill Scott, one of the newer ones, Ari Lennox. Music Soul Child.
D'Angelo, shout out to D'Angelo, right?
D'Angelo, Anthony Hamilton. Just, I can play those all day. Like, when it's time to clean, Saturday cleaning, right?
Yes.
I put those on, and I was like, all right, I'm ready to get up. And then I'm another person. I love I love reggae and Caribbean music, but I love the newer stuff, and I definitely love like Bob Marley, of course. So I may, like, if I'm like, all right, you know what, I feel tired, I don't feel like doing it, I don't feel like cleaning, I'm gonna play my Caribbean music. But if I'm already kind of in a good mood and I'm just like, all right, I need to kind of translate this and, you know, get things done, maybe close some charts or, you know, answer some emails, I put on my neo soul and I can just listen to that all day long.
I see, and I know there are a lot of people out there that can resonate with what you're saying.
Yes.
They probably say, girl, yes, yes, I have my, you know, there are people out there that love country and western music, or there's some that may love different types of light music, kind of light rock and so forth. So whatever rocks your boat, make it happen for you. If you know you have that project that you've been procrastinating on, get you some music.
Your playlist.
Sit down, get your playlist, and get your mind regulated so that you can get the job done. And then just if you're hearing some bad news and you just need something, it's nothing wrong with playing something positive to lift your spirits so that you can manage that situation better and more strategically. All right? So, Celeste, again, before we close, we want to make double sure our viewers know who you are and how they can find you. Where can they find Skylight, Ascend Wellness, and thank you for joining us too.
No problem. So again, you can find me online, virtual. So my website is www.skylightwell.org. We're a virtual practice. We do psychiatry, we do therapy, we do overall wellness, vitamin supplementation, weight loss. That's also a part of mental health. And with us being virtual, we are now offering services in 10 different states.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
So check out Celeste, Skylight Ascend Wellness. And I'm standing in here, my sister, my twin sister, my Wonder Twin Power, Raymonde, wasn't able to be with us today, but I know she's here in spirit. So as we close and as we bid you a groovy adieu, keep us in mind. In addition to visiting our website at sros.org, you can also visit Sapphire Rays of Sunshine on Facebook and LinkedIn under the same name, and then on Instagram under Sapphire Sun Rays with an S. Music isn't just entertainment, it's information for the brain. So it shapes our emotion, regulates the nervous system, and connects us to memory and meaning. And we use it intentionally. Sound becomes a tool for wellness. This is Healing Grooves.